On Pokemon Day 2026, the Generation 10 Pokemon games were finally announced, Pokemon Winds and Pokemon Waves. I thought that trailer was amazing, and so today I just wanted to share my thoughts on it and what I'm looking forward to in this game. My channel is kind of turning into a Pokemon channel at this point, so if you do love Pokemon, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more. Start with the thing that stands out the most to me here, which is the graphics. This game is going to release in 2027, which is a whole year out still, but the graphics we see in this trailer are still the best Pokemon has ever looked in 3D to me. I think this game looks better than Pokemon Snap and even Pokémon Tournament, which are both beautiful games in their own art style, but the fact that this game still has like a year or maybe even longer to cook does give me faith that it will look even better. Maybe not like a gigantic shift, but enough of an improvement to earn being the best looking 3D Pokemon game. With all that said, it obviously isn't a perfect looking game from this trailer. It may be the best Pokemon's looked in 3D, but that is still like comparing it to previous Pokemon titles, especially the mainline games, which haven't ever looked great, honestly. At the same time though, I do want to say like I see a lot of people downplaying this game's graphics, and some of the people I see are complaining about low quality textures on the ground and like the rocks, and then some of the other areas can look a bit rough. But things like that really don't take away from the amazing looking lightage, the foliage, and then the actual terrain of the world. All of those are such massive improvements that these like simple textures don't really bother me at all, especially when there are other textures that do look fantastic. My favorite video game series is Xenoblade, and Xenoblade 2 looks the best graphically to me. Even Xenoblade 2 is full of lower quality textures from time to time, but it's never distracting, because when they need the high quality textures, they're there, and it suits the more like anime style that game has. Now, I've seen a lot of people compare this game to Scarlet and Violet, and rightfully so, but this game's art style is different. Similar, especially with character models, but different at the same time. Scarlet and Violet was trying to be realistic, so some of the Pokemon textures were extremely detailed, like giving scales to the snake Pokemon, but none of that is present so far in Winds and Waves. The Pokemon seem to be kind of a more cartoony aesthetic, and I think that even goes for a lot of the terrain scene. While it is far from cel shading, I think the rolling green fields and like cartoony looking wind lines are not exactly going for a realistic style. I think it's somewhere between, and I think it looks great. While some people might say, okay, it finally looks like a Switch 1 game, I think that's a bit disingenuous. This is just my opinion, but Xenoblade 2 is a Switch 1 game that runs in 30 FPS, but it looks way more visually appealing to me than most PS4 games. Now, obviously that's just my preference, but that's why to me these games look way better than that. And while this trailer is supposedly in 30 FPS, it still has a year of optimization before it's finished. Now, this could age poorly, but I do have hope that this game could be 60 FPS. Maybe it won't be stable, but even then, it would be able to surpass the best looking Switch 1 game for me, which is Xenoblade 2. And if it did that, then I think this game would be what I expect from a Switch 2 game. Something that looks great while still running great. And that's really all I would want from this game in a graphic sense. So at this point, I'm just looking forward to seeing more of the game and hoping that this extra time will help them reach 60 FPS. Okay, I yapped enough about the graphics. Now I want to talk about the starters. We have Grout, Pombon, and Gekwa. I like all three of them, though I am leaning towards Pombon. And I've seen a lot of people say that these designs are kind of weird, which, yeah, that happens every gen. But I do actually think that the more simplistic designs that these first stages have reminds me of how Gen 1 and 2 starters have more simplistic designs. Like, they don't have many decorations or like little details all over the bodies. And I'm not like a design expert or anything, so I could sound very stupid right now. But I do think more recent starters have a bit more going on. Whether it's like the certain body patterns they have, or some of the motifs of them being very pronounced, these guys look way more simple to me. We have a green chick with leaf eyebrows, an orange fire puppy with some red on its throat and head, and then a water lizard with a round tail and pronounced eyelashes. There are a couple more details on each, but to me, they have a very different vibe from Gen 8 starters and even Gen 9s. They feel closer to the more simple designs of Gen 1 and 2. And if I sound insane, please let me know in the comments. But overall, I do think it's a great group of starters, and I really look forward to seeing how they evolve. Okay, I want to talk about things that I would love to see in this game. And just a warning, I am going to talk about things we saw in the Terra leak, which has basically just been proven true again and again. So if you don't want any spoilers or details from the Terra leak, then you should probably click off the video now. And if you are, I hope you enjoyed and thanks for watching. So the Terra leak had shown us that this game would feature underwater diving, and that was confirmed at the end of the trailer. But I really hope that there was a similar feature for the wind part of the game, like a return of soaring or even a new flying mechanic. In Scarlet and Violet, you could fly after beating the DLC, but it honestly didn't feel too great. Diving would cause you to build up speed, and then it felt like all of the momentum would disappear. I would love a more in-depth flying feature, like making the momentum feel better, or even just giving it more movement options like rolling or tricks. I do think that could be very OP, but it could just be a late game option. The Terra leak had information that showed that they wanted the legendaries of the game to each have their own island, and it would be like a little challenge to get there and face them. Apparently they wanted it to be similar to Breath of the Wild, where if you were smart and skilled enough, you could somehow make it to the legendary, like right when you start the game. So maybe it's a situation where it's really hard to get on these islands, but in the late game you unlock a soaring option, and that would allow you to get there as part of the story. Now, all of these details surrounding the legendaries could be completely scrapped, but it is just an interesting thought. I just want to see more done with the wind aspect of the games, since it looks like the waves part is going to be very important. I will mention that in the Terra leak, the method of transportation was this Rotom hoverboard, which we can actually see in the trainer's designs here. With this hoverboard, you were apparently able to hook onto a Pokemon of your choice, and then you control the Pokemon directly, with your trainer just following behind them. That would allow you to go faster on like land, it would allow you to swim, and even fly if it was a flying Pokemon. It seems interesting, but I do fear that with the hoverboard, flying could still feel boring and stiff like Scarlet and Violet, and even swimming may not feel great. But honestly, who knows? Like I said, that was all just a prototype and development concept, so it could have been changed fundamentally, or maybe there's even more depth to it we have yet to see. Of course, there's a lot more I would love to see in this game, but with how much this trailer didn't show, I think that's all I have for now. I'm extremely excited to see more of these games, and I honestly have faith that they will be good. To be fair, I'm a very easy to please fan. I actually really loved the gameplay of Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, and even Legends EA, but this trailer honestly surpassed any expectations I had of this game, even after learning all about it in the Terra leak. I truly think Pokemon fans are going to be eating good next year, and I just really hope that sentence doesn't age poorly. Thank you for watching. My next video probably won't be a Pokemon video, but if you are a Pokemon fan and found my channel, please do let me know what you think of Winds and Waves in the comments. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.